Hello, my friends, and this is your daily tarot reading for the 19th, which also happens to be a full moon, and it also happens to be close to the equinox, I believe. So we got a lot of energies going around. I can attest to a little bit of that in my own home. I've been feeling some energies wandering about and doing their thing. Today, I feel the need to do a little bit more than just your standard alchemical spread. I don't know why, but we'll see what comes of it. All right. I'm going to do the Wheel of Fortune today. We'll see what comes up of it. See a lot of repeating elements from the tarot text, or from the alchemicals. But I can tell you exactly what this whole entire thing is going to talk about. But let's start off with the whole entire focus of the read is going to be sitting with our dear friend, the Three of Pentacles inverted. So with the Three of Pentacles, what we are looking at is we're looking at an era and a period of time where we are starting out on something new, something kind of wonderful. But in getting that mastery, we're kind of locking ourselves away and we're still trying to figure out what the best route is. And that's inverted. So if you're starting something new right now, it's time for you to be cognizant that it's good to keep moving forward, but also be cognizant not to let it get too big for your britches. And that's what this whole entire thing is about. It is about working on something new, developing, growing, and making sure that we don't hit those downfalls and pitfalls that generally follow in that environment. So first of all, what we're seeing the Seven of Pentacles inverted. Now with the Seven of Pentacles, it's always about watching things grow, preparing for the harvest, but not ready yet, and it's inverted. And this speaks ample to the patience that we require when we start developing. And that's beside the King of Wands inverted, which is our fast-moving, passionate energies, and the Empress, which is about is a guardian of all pentacles, all about nurturing and growth. So as we start working towards this new mastery, it's very important for us to patiently wait for it to grow out. Don't let your passions get the best of you and stop trying to force yourself to getting that development from it. Let things come naturally. Forcing new growth and development will do nothing but peel us apart like warm bread. We will feel ourselves being taxed to a point where we're not going to get the results that we want. So calm down, slow down, let it come naturally. We have the Magician showing itself. I love the Magician card. For the longest time, you know how cards kind of resonate with you personally. Some people say, oh, I'm this card, I'm that card. But the longest time, the Magician card kind of resonated with me. And with the Magician card, we have the balance of all elements. Earth, air, fire, water, all of the suits, everything. We have mastery over all of those skills and the abilities to move forward. Also, being the first card in the tarot deck, it talks about starting out on that journey and putting things in order and in place for things to work for you. Followed by the Four of Swords inverted, which is that soul rest. It's also that waiting period and that mourning period, letting things end. Followed by the Ten of Wands, which is our overburdened passions. So as this pertains especially to developing a new business, we have all the skills that we require to actually make that a go and make things grow and be prosperous. And it also tells us that we may need to mourn the passing of our past, mourn the passing of things that we thought were going to happen, and allow ourselves to understand that sometimes we're just going to be overburdened to a point where it almost seems counterproductive. There's going to be a lot of new beginnings, a lot of new startings happening here, a lot of new jobs. In the next quadrant, starting off, we have the Ace of Cups. We have my good friend, the Hermit. And we have the Six of Swords inverted. So It's very important for us to remember to maintain our balance when we start on these new ventures, because we have a lot of heavy pentacle energy, a lot of heavy wand energy right away, and a lot of heavy, just wand and pentacle right away. Do not neglect your spiritual abilities. That's the whole purpose, and that's why we have the star card presenting itself. Now, the star card's a very important card. I'm going to get a little bit closer. It's when the Hermit card, not the star card. I'll tell you why I said star. The Hermit card. So the Hermit card is actually a very important card when we start things new. It's all about seeking ourselves. And I thought I wasn't going to have to say it, but I'm going to have to say it again. It's all about going into ourselves deeply. In the conventional tarot deck, he has the star inside the lantern. It's because you have to put yourself into a position where no one else can bother you in order to find that transcendent moment that's going to identify who you are. And once that's done, then you're going to be traveling from bad waters to good waters. Right now, it's kind of looking not like that way. Don't let yourself self-lie to yourself, doubt to yourself, because it's time for you to release that fear and move forward. This is really going to be important when we start talking about moving forward in our careers and in our nurturing lives and in our work and in our vocation. And I say vocation because it's important for me to distinguish between occupation and vocation. I knew an individual when I was growing up. I lived in a very tiny little mining community. And this person would sit at work. Their scoop tram operators would stop in a drive, or stop in a location where they'd load up all of these the scoop tram, and then they'd have to drive away. What he'd do is he'd sit there and read. Now, his vocation was a scholar. His occupation was a miner of lead zinc ore. So it's important for you to remember the difference between your occupation and your vocation. Your vocation is what calls you. Your occupation is what pays you. So when we start off on our vocation, that's what this really is. It's very, very important that we don't get lost in that vocation. Sometimes we feel like we're being pulled into this direction and we stop listening to the universe, and then we get slapped in the head with, you need to start paying attention. And I hate to say this, and I wanted not to say it again, but the cards are telling us to take a break, sit back, seek out that transcendent moment, that aha moment that forms and crafts your vocation, so that you can leave finally these moments of hardship and moments of heartbreak. Last quadrant. All right, we got the good old Ten of Pentacles. Oh, sorry, King of Pentacles. Come on, focus, you. King of Pentacles. Inverted Seven of Swords. And the inverted Ace of Swords. This is a little bit of a warning for us. Sometimes when we start really developing on our vocation, we launch ourselves too fast. And when we launch ourselves too fast, our intelligence grows, but our emotions don't. There's two different things. There's IQ and there's EQ. So your IQ operates in like being a smarty pants, being the Albert Einstein, as it were, or the Elon Musks of the world, which is really cool to have. But if you don't have EQ with that, then you're not going to be listened to. Pretty sure we all have heard of like the Big Bang Theory, where Sheldon Cooper's, the smartest man in the room, but emotionally he's the most foolish. He doesn't quite understand how to even talk to Peggy, and that unfortunately is a telltale sign of intellect, where they can't really function or focus in an environment because they just can't balance the two out. So the reason why this is very, very important is because when we start getting really good and we start getting recognized, and we start getting this drive and this arrogance, and that drive and arrogance brings us to a point where we forsake our emotional intelligence, because situationally we have a higher just general intelligence, IQ, right? So don't forsake that, because That's why we're getting these cards in an order. Your mastery leads to you robbing from yourself because you think of yourself too high, too big. You've gotten high on your own supply, and that supply is the knowledge that you keep. So keep humble is the key there. Don't fly off the handle. Making emotional moves because you feel like you're doing the right thing is a very foolish thing to do indeed. Which leads us to the head and the heart card. The head card, very good for us, especially on the last part, is the inverted temperance card. We're going to flip this bad boy over so you can see it's all about that nice balance, maintaining that balance, being grounded, but also being able to operate fluidly within the intuitive world, the ability to fly, but also the ability to use that good old fire energy. It's not wanting to focus. Come on now. There we go. It's also about that good old focus balance that we have with that water. It's inverted. Now, when we start working towards the passions, the things that feed us and grow us and develop us, and we start getting mastery over those things, it's hard for us sometimes to take into account the totality of our life. And we just kind of forsake those small little things. It could be as easy as stopping in the morning and having a cup of tea before you start opening up your emails, or going for that extra long hike or run before you start your next project. Remember that balance. It'll feed you forever. The reason why we do these things, the reason why we work out, we balance our emotions, is because when things get hard, those sorts of elements, that discipline and that enjoyment, and will actually serve to buttress you against the hard times. So remember that. Remember to have that balance. Now is a very important thing for everyone to remember, because we've had this card a good number of times. It is a hard season that we are looking at right now. Lots of people are locked in. Lots of people are feeling the pinch with their business. Lots of people are feeling unsure. Lots of sick people, so on and so forth. Remember the wheel of fortune. In this deck, it's the wheel of the year. Just remember that good times come bad, bad times come good. The wheel keeps turning. It is not the time for us to be uber afraid, but it is time for us to be prepared for that next step. And it's going to be a next step indeed. I'm having a good feeling about that. So, yeah, that is your full moon, which is tomorrow, reading for the tarot of the day. I believe it's tomorrow. I hope it is. And intuitively, I had the feeling to do this spread instead of the usual spread. So if you have any reason why, if you kind of figure it out, please shoot me a message and let me know. English is a good language. Like, share, subscribe, and we will see you tomorrow. Have a wonderful day.